active systems in the world right now, 2 of which have a name, and the other 3 could get a name very soon. What could these new ones, what will their names be? How strong could they get? What could their impacts be to land? And these current ones, what could their peak intensity be and how long could they last? Those questions will be answered in this video. It's CBF Cyclone Friday, July 3rd. Oh, it's Thursday. Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. Starting with severe tropical storm Mun. It currently has 70 mile an hour sustained winds, and it should reach a peak intensity of 80 miles an hour, which would be a typhoon. And it could be a typhoon pretty soon, and it should peak tomorrow on the 4th of July, which is Independence Day. Invest 98W has 25 mile an hour sustained winds and a very high chance of development in the next 24 hours. The system's name could be Danis. I'm not sure what its impacts could be to land, but now that it's in kind of this area, I don't know what this area is called, but since it's in that area, it's kind of inevitable that it's going to make a landfall. And then Tropical Storm Flossie. It is currently a tropical storm, but it did peak as a Category 3 hurricane. It is the second major hurricane of this Eastern Pacific hurricane season. It peaked at 115 mile an hour sustained winds, which is a bare minimum Category 3 hurricane. So barely made it, but it's still pretty strong. But now it's starting to weaken. It's not that strong anymore. Disturbance 1, also Zoom Earth added this new feature that I really like, where they actually show the color. So orange is a medium risk, red is a high risk, and yellow is a low risk. But they added this new feature where it shows the color. I really like that. Disturbance 1 currently has a 40% chance of development in the next 2 days and an 80% chance of development in the next 7 days. If this does get a name, it will get the name Jill. That's spelled G-I-L. And then Disturbance 1, I do expect this to develop, and it could actually hit land. I think it could hit near Wilmington, North Carolina. The United States hasn't had any storms yet this year, and I think this could be their first one. It currently has 30% chance of development in the next 2 days, and a 60% chance of development in the next 7 days. And if this does get a name, the name will be Chantal. And there are some models showing this making a landfall. Some models showing it kind of bringing it to Charlotte, and then others, I think it'll go closer to Wilmington. And then exit off the coast of North Carolina or Virginia, and then go this way. I'll be tracking all of that for you. And also, I'm going to do a recap of June today, because why not? So, June 1st, that was the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. There was nothing going on. But the activity started in the Eastern Pacific when Barbara and Cosme developed on the same day. So these were twin storms. I only expected Barbara to develop, and then the Canadian model did show Cosme also developing, and then every model followed that, and it did end up happening. So Cosme peaked at 70 miles an hour. Barbara peaked at 75 miles an hour. Barbara was the strongest storm just for a little bit. Barbara was the strongest of the 2025 Eastern Pacific hurricane season for a little bit. And then fast forward to later in June, we have Delilah. I kind of forgot about Delilah, but Delilah did happen, and it did bring some tropical storm force winds to Mexico. It peaked at 65 miles an hour, so not as strong as Barbara or Cosme. Cosme peaked at 70 miles an hour. And then Wu-Tip, this was the first storm and typhoon of the 2025 Western Pacific hurricane season. It peaked at 75 miles an hour, so a low-end typhoon. And then as we go ahead in time, we're about to get to the strongest storm of the season. Here it was, Hurricane Eric. It peaked at a Category 4 hurricane. It peaked at Category 4 intensity, 145 miles an hour, and it made landfall as a Category 3 and then quickly weakened because Mexico's the topography is just so rough, and if it's a rough topography, storms will weaken quickly. So that's what happened with Eric. It peaked at a Category 4 hurricane. It is currently the strongest storm in the Eastern Pacific so far this year. And then as we get to June 24th, here we have it, Andrea, the first named storm of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. I did not think we would get a storm in the Atlantic in June this year, but not only did we get one, fast forward in time a little more, we got Barry. Barry did end up strengthening into a tropical storm, and it also got a little stronger than 40 miles an hour. It did reach 45 miles an hour and made landfall south of Tampico, so about the same area as Alberto did last year, and it was around the same time as well, except it was more like June 20th, June 19th. Here it is. So Alberto made landfall a little north of Tampico, and then Barry made landfall a little south, just a little over a year later. And then, not July, I meant to go to 2025. And then, not only that, we also got a Flossie. Flossie has actually been pretty long tracked, and I've shown you Flossie already. And then in the Western Pacific, what's happened since Wu-Tip, there were two storms. First, it was Sephat. It peaked at 45 miles an hour in intensity, and it brought some rain to Japan, Tokyo mainly. And then there was a tropical depression that did not end up strengthening into a tropical storm, but it did exist. And then as we go further in time, we got Typhoon Mun. Oh wait, I guess that was the start of July. I didn't know that. Haven't been able to check it until today. So now we've got these storms. I'll be tracking all of these active systems for you. Please subscribe. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching and see ya.